Cadillac introduced this back in 2020. It was all new. 2021, they added a turbo 4-cylinder, which is basically the same as the smaller XT5. This is your smaller option to the Escalade. Cadillac Lakeland has given us the 2022 Cadillac XT6 Premium Luxury Crystal White Tri-Coat. New for the year, the sports trim gets Brembo brakes, red brake calipers. In the interior, you'll have a new leather-wrapped steering wheel, the latest Q technology with the safety to back it, room for 6. Rivals such as your Genesis GV80, Volvo XC90, Audi Q7, BMW X5, Mercedes, Infiniti, the list goes on and on with luxury, but really what we need is an interior that's beyond luxury with modern flares, the latest technology, safety, and performance. I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides, and we're going to go over all the specs and details starting now. Off the Buick Enclave platform, the new Cadillac XT6 is a modern twist to the larger Escalade, and I like what we're getting here because if you don't want something that's that big with the width and the height and all those dimensions, this is something that you're going to entertain. Futuristic styling, LED headlamps are going to start off going down with the large turn signals. You're going to get the gloss black that's going to be around it, the chrome that's going to be on the lower non-functional vents. But I do like that the gloss black goes all the way underneath the large Cadillac grille with the chrome and gloss black mixture in between. You're going to get the chrome on the top and on the lower. The headlamp assembly just goes into it. It's not going to be the widest amongst the rivals. At 77.3 inches and a height of 68.9 inches, the ground clearance is going to be a little bit less than 7 inches, but you can go over any terrain that you need. And I like how it's such a simple design in the front. They didn't go all out with different proportion layouts. They just gave enough aerodynamic attributes to go against the rivals. Headlight assembly goes into the fenders. You get the gloss black that's on the lower trim, 20-inch, 12-spoke, fully polished wheels, just sets the design cue. The disc reading behind it, 12.6 inches ventilated. Out back, 12.4 inches ventilated. For 2022, standard power folding side view mirrors. Now, I understand this is something that should have been implemented years ago, but even with the Infiniti QX60, they're just now more or less implementing it. So even though it's luxury, I kind of get it. The length, 198.8 inches with the wheelbase at 112.7 inches. Because there's so many rivals, I'm really going to just touch bases on the Volvo XC90, the Audi Q7. This one's going to look a little bit more smaller, chrome across all the window treatment, the gloss black in between, and even on the side view mirrors in the interior and on the back and the front of the bumpers on the lower trim. You're going to have a lower roof spoiler, the gloss black that's going to surround it, going on the sides, LED tail lamps, signature Cadillac lighting. The best part though is how luxurious they go above and beyond, go an extra step, hiding the rear view wiper to give more luxury. It's going to be more modern and settle in the rear. It's not going to be over the top, very similar to the Volvo XC90, but if you're going to go into the Audi or the BMW or the Mercedes, it's going to be a little bit more of a sports attribute. 400 badging signifies an output of 367 Nms rounded up to make 400 or 270 pound-feet of torque. Going down the lower, the gloss black is going to be on the whole lower trim that's going to encase these dual exhaust outlets. They're chrome trim, towing up to 4,000 pounds. Yes, it's not going to be the best in class, but you can get the job done if you have a jet ski. Going inside to your power liftgate, cargo is going to start at 12.6 cubic feet. There's storage underneath the floor. We have a 12-volt charger. The third row bench split folds at a 50-50, increasing that cargo to 43.1 cubic feet. The second row captain seats fold down, maxing the cargo to 78.1 cubic feet. This is going to be better than the Volvo XC90, naturally aspirated V6. Let's go inside, start it up, hear that exhaust note. Cadillac XT6 definitely gives us a lot more room for the family, and it doesn't make us go into the Escalade, which is something that makes it even better because it's always nice to have a choice that you don't necessarily want to go into the largest SUV. You want to go into like a mid-size SUV, and that's pretty much what you're getting with this. The styling attributes keep the modern flair, and it's not too over the top so anyone can drive it. Cadillac backs the performance with a 3.6 liter naturally aspirated V6, producing 310 horsepower and 271 pound-feet of torque that's paired to a 9-speed automatic transmission, achieving 19 to 26 mpgs. 0 to 60 around 6.4 seconds, quarter mile about 15.1 seconds, a top speed 132 miles per hour. Stopping distance 70 to 0 at 171 feet, which is almost the best in class for braking. You have the performance, you have the drive, you don't necessarily need that big step to go into the large Escalade. You want to get your feet wet with a Cadillac and you want a third row. This is something to consider. Let me know in the comments what you think about the 2022 Cadillac XT6 Premium Luxury as we go into the interior, go over the tech, and take this for our test run. Entering inside the Cadillac XT6, you're going to receive 39.8 inches of headroom, 41.2 inches of legroom. It's going to have better leg room than the Volvo XC90. And this vehicle isn't as long or as large as it. Interiors with dark titanium accents. These are bucket front seats, leather wrapped, 10-way power adjustments. They're heated, perforated with the stitchwork, Cadillac embroidered, Cadillac modern dual layered dashboard design with the polished wood inlays and the metal look that pushes into this 8-inch touchscreen navigation. This is your Q system. It's the most advanced system for Cadillac with Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. It's wireless, Sirius XM, streaming Bluetooth. We have the pinch, we have the swipe, click it to your home, so that way you can see we have Wi-Fi hotspot. You can click it to the climate control. You could do your tri-climate control through here, or you could do it through the knobs that are underneath here as well. Put it into reverse. We do have full trajectory. It's only reverse camera, but it does make it easy for your reversing. A large area that you can fit a cell phone or a bag of chips if you need. Cup holders, you can fit a 16.9 ounce water bottle. I'd say about a 32 ounces max. You have your intuitive drive that can do everything for your infotainment if you're bothered with touch screen. But you know, I'm more of a touch screen type of guy, so touch and play. The gear lever is something that I always applaud Cadillac for making such a bold statement. In the way it's positioned, it just fits perfect for your arm, and it's actually tilted just a little bit to the driver. Very cool. Hit into your modes and you can go into different settings here for your tour, your sport, or your snow and ice. Elbows nice and soft. Open up inside. You got a storage, USB, USB-C. Lift that up. Pretty deep. Not necessarily so wide. When you put it down, it has an area that you can run your wires. You can run it through here, and it makes it seamless for your phone. So when you're pulling your phone up, the wires are still in here. They're not dangling everywhere. Cadillac is thinking this stuff through. You got a pass-through with a 12-volt steering wheel, leather wrap, multi-function, the wood inlays. It does set it apart. Paddle shifters, TFT display that can go through an array of information for the driver. You have your navigation, your audio, your Bluetooth settings, the Ultra View power sunroof, which goes all the way to the second row, which is awesome. 14 speakers through Bose Performance Series, which makes it sound incredible. The gloss is going to be around the gauge cluster. Door panel is going to go right into that dashboard, and it's going to be soft materials. You got the contrast stitching, you got the wood inlays, the Bose sound system, memory for the driver, one touch up and down for the front windows. They're dual pane, and I like how it kind of cocoons around you. Storage, probably 3 or 4 16.9 ounce water bottles. We do have an efficient amount of space up here for a third row vehicle. Let's see how the second row looks. For the second row, I'm at 39.1 inches of headroom, 39.1 inches of legroom, which is better than the Audi and the Genesis. The pano moonroof comes all the way back, and it's pretty wide. We have air vents that are on the ceiling, so you can feel it in the second row, and I'm sure you can feel it in the third row without any issues either. In the center, we do have a third climate control settings with the Cadillac badging, a USB and USB-C. Slide this open to 2 cup holders that can fit probably a 20 ounce, and you got a little storage tray there. Storage beyond both of the front seats. This does fold up here, but at the end of the day, think we want to relax when we're in a Cadillac. You can also recline these seats back, and they do go back pretty far to probably where I would not be able to fit. You can also adjust these forward, which will give the most optimal space, as you're seeing right now. But I'm going to put it about in the center, so that way I can actually fit here, and I can fit into the rear. Door panel, it's going to be soft materials. You get the premium Bose stereo system. You get the gloss over that polished wood inlays with the metal look. Storage, you can fit about two 16.9-ounce water bottles or a large flask. Let's see how I look in that third row. For the third row, I'm at 37.2 inches of headroom, 29.5 inches of legroom. Depending on how we move the second row is going to depend on how much legroom you realistically have. Either way, it's better headroom than the Genesis and the Volvo, and it beats the Audi 100%. Nothing here to rest my elbow or an armrest, so that does make it a little bit tough in the sense of comfort. And on this side, it's harder materials. You can fit a 16.9-ounce water bottle. I would say a 20 ounces max. The nice thing though is the window is big enough, and we do have a USB-C port on both sides. Taking the 2022 Cadillac XT6 Premium Luxury out for our test run. Nice things, naturally aspirated V6, 3.6 liter, 310 horsepower. You have the up and go performance. You have nearly 7 inches of clearance, so it's good with that. It is an alternative to an Escalade, which is something I really like, because when I personally went to get a third row vehicle, I was not able to, because at the time, people that drive with me thought the Escalade was just too big, and this puts it in a category just like an Infiniti, just like an Audi, a BMW, so forth and so on, and it's not too big. That's the best part about these third row vehicles. It's not over the top. Towing could be a little bit more, but you can still tow a jet ski, a single one. It's not too bad with that. And you have performance to back it. Gas consumption, it's naturally aspirated V6. So you're expecting to get around in the 20s, but you can get up and go. And as for the visibility, I mean, I can see pretty much everything. It is a longer vehicle. So looking in the back, I will be using blind spot monitoring. Looking in the front, I actually like the setup because the hood kind of just flows downwards, but it's enough of a proportion that I know where the front bumper is and I know where my side fenders are. They don't flare out like crazy. As for road noise, when you start getting up to speed, it does start filtering inwards. These are upgraded wheels, so you're going to, I guess, expect that at the end of the day. Turn signal, I'm not so keen on. Braking, it is one of the best in class for braking. And I mean, this is a third row SUV. Turn radius at more or less a stop point is going to get about 2 in a par lane, and give it some throttle. The nice thing is you hear a V6 engine. It doesn't sound like a drone. It sounds nice and powerful. You do have a lot of safety and technology. When you go through a school zone, even though it's not in school zone time, it's going to pop up on the queue information. You do have your speed limiter right here as well, so it tells you how fast the speed limit is, which is a good thing, because this particular vehicle, you can get a little carried away with it. So comparing it against the rivals, when I'm looking at the Q7, I really do like the Q7, but price point, you're going to be spending more towards the 100,000 in order to get something that's going to be full-blown performance in that luxury blend. I would say this is the best bang for your buck. Anything that's going to be in the $60,000, $70,000 price point. Looking at it from the Volvo XC90, that one escalates to the $70,000, $80,000 price point as well. So yet again, best bang for your buck. Now there is 3 things I like and 3 things that I dislike. Is anything more than that, I'd be buying this vehicle. Starting off with the 3 things that I like is in the second row. You get that extra storage tier that pulls out, more cup holders, a storage box. Did a great job with that. The second thing, it's not too big. You don't need to go to an Escalade to get third row anymore. If they had this back when I was buying my Infiniti, I may have just bought this because the price point is that aggressive. The last thing that I like is how easy to use the infotainment screen is, the climate control, everything is very user-friendly. If you're not tech savvy, you can do it with this because it's so user-friendly. Stopped in the middle of the road, 271 horsepower, we're going to put it here. Sorry, the voice has changed, my mic has died. We're gonna give her a little gas. It does get a little bit more windy in the interior from the wheel well area. The windows and windscreens pretty much hold itself. Three things that I dislike has to start off with how plain it is down here by the gear knob. When I go into the Rivals, they just make it a little bit more playful in the center cluster than they do in this one. And when you move up forward, you almost lose that armrest depending on how tall you are. The second thing that I dislike, entering into the third row is almost impossible because the space is very tight. It's literally like that much space. You have to kind of kick to get inside. The last thing that I dislike has to go to the gauge cluster. It's not a digital gauge cluster readout. That should be something that's standard and implemented in all of the Cadillac lines, because when you go into the Rivals nowadays, everybody's throwing it, and when you go up to the larger SUV, the Escalade, it's nearly 2/3 of screens in the front. So it makes it so much more desirable in the sense of tech savvy. It almost looks like an Apple store, for lack of better words. But the setup that you have in this is great if you don't want to go to that larger styling and you want to have something that has all the performance cues and the luxury to back it, because you're going to get that with the XT6, and you get the maneuverability as well, because it's not necessarily the biggest vehicle on the road. The seats are comfortable. You don't necessarily feel the ride too much. It feels like it's gliding. Nothing like an air suspension, but it's not going to be like a sport suspension like in a BMW or a Mercedes-Benz. So you do have, for a longevity drive, something that's going to be ever so comfortable. The seats recline, and it just makes it so much easier for a family to fit in this. I'd like to thank Cadillac of Lakeland for giving us this 2022 Cadillac XT6 Premium Luxury for our car review. If you're already a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Hawkeye community. If not, click the next video, the subscribe button. Check out the details, the merchandise website, and everything we do here at Hawkeye Rides.